Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and it's time for another viewer submitted match. What I got for you today is a Silver League game of Terran versus Protoss. Spawning here in the bottom left hand corner of Blackpink and playing with the red Terran SCVs, we are looking in the main base of ET Lynx. And his opponent spawning all the way over in the top right hand corner of the map. He's got that beautiful cardboard star right next to his nexus and he goes by the name of McLovin. McLovin. Anyway, it's been a little bit of time since I've last done a viewer submitted replay, and the reason for that is simple. We haven't been getting as many epic replays as we did once upon a time. Now, that doesn't mean, of course, that you can no longer go ahead and submit your games. As a matter of fact, if you got an awesome match of a game that you have played recently, you can go ahead and submit it to replays@LowkoTV. Just simply attach the .sc2 replay file, and I may very well end up casting your game in a video in the future. Now, apparently, McLovin here, he's a Silver League Protoss. Of course, your first tech structure has to be a forge. He's already got that probe inside of the opponent's main base. Apparently, though, ET Lynx knows that something is not quite right. Look at those star senses there. He must have realized, of course, that something tried to get by his depot and then also by that barracks that is still in construction. And he does end up finding that probe that, of course, tried to go for a bit of a cannon rush. Now, here's a good rule, guys. If you are a Protoss player, all right, take notes. Don't cannon rush very often in general, okay? This is a good rule to keep, but also, cannon rushing a Terran player oftentimes doesn't make a lot of sense because they can just simply go ahead and lift up their buildings, and that means all of a sudden you will find yourself with, you know, a whole lot of cannons inside of an area that doesn't have anything. Apparently, though, losing a probe definitely also is not part of that strategy, and ET Lynx so far seems like he is in a really solid position. In the meantime, though, on the other side of the map, we see that Nexus going up right now for McLovin. He's got himself that gateway finished. He's now also making a defensive photon cannon. This is actually a pretty standard setup if we look back at like Terran versus Protoss, or in particular like Protoss versus Zerg back in like 2011, 2012, people love to open up with a gateway and a forge, so you could easily go ahead and defend your main bases without really running into any kind of trouble. Still though, another probe was indeed sent out on the map. ET Lynx should have seen that one scoot by that command center that is currently in construction as well, but apparently he was not quite paying attention there as he is not responding to anything. McLovin, you're a dirty Protoss, and you know it, right? He has decided that he is still gonna try and commit to the cannon rush. I mean, if your first all-in doesn't work, you can always go ahead and all-in again, right? Those are famous Protoss words. I think that everyone that plays StarCraft has indeed experienced this once upon a time. And while indeed the Ghost Academy is now being built here by ET Lynx, is he really gonna make a bunch of ghosts here at this point in the game? It does look like that may very well be the case. McLovin, at this very point, is currently constructing a couple of photon cannons that are definitely out of range of hitting that command center, but they will probably allow him to leapfrog forward towards, for example, a cannon over there, and that one would be able to hit the mineral line as well as the CC. Now, here's the thing, though, right? Remember the second rule that I just mentioned? Cannon rushing a Terran player, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, because he's just simply gonna lift up this orbital command or command center in a little bit, and then, I don't know, float it over here or float it over there. It doesn't really matter all too much. But there are a lot of resources that are now being committed here towards trying to deal some damage to a mineral line that don't actually deal any kind of damage. Now, he does need another photon cannon here. Maybe even another pylon. There we go. That one will definitely be in range of both the CC as well as that mineral line here with the SCVs. Apparently, another shield battery is needed as well because, you know, why not, right? Yeah, another pylon. Sure, go ahead and make all of the things. That does mean that McLovin apparently is going to be able to deal with this. Now, already, though, we see the cloak upgrade here for Ghost being researched, but also a tactical nuke. And the second Ghost Academy just finished up here inside of that main base of ET Lynx as well. So he does indeed now have a Ghost out, and he's going to start roaming the map with that one. Now, here we go, though. You do need to lift that. Okay, I was going to say, you do need to lift it up. I've seen some really cringy games where the command center just doesn't get lifted, and somehow, some way, a photon cannon kills an orbital command. It shouldn't really be the case, but indeed, he's just simply gonna lift up and then land it over at the 3rd/4th base location. Now, the Ghost, he's been moving across the map for a little while already. Right, this is a stealth assassin. Now, when you look at him right now, he's not particularly stealthy, but 2 nukes are already on that production tab. In the meantime, though, in the main base of the Protoss, we see a single pylon there powering both the cybernetics core as well as that Stargate. Now, of course, there is detection here near the front, right? Which is actually quite important. I mean, that photon cannon will not just defend against any units that are trying to move by, but it also will provide vision if this ghost decides to cloak. And apparently, it is already doing exactly that. Now, the stealth assassin is currently trying to move forward. Apparently, McLovin, though, he's not done just yet. He's simply trying to continue what I think is going to be another cannon rush, although this one is really far away. A scan will be used right here by ET Lynx. Is he going to try and nuke the high ground? Oh my god. It's the standard scan into Tactical Nuke to try and deal with your opponent's structures near the front. And apparently, McLovin, he's not paying attention. I think this nuke will indeed be able to land right on top of everything here near the front door. And not only did that actually kill the units, but also that photon cannon. You can see the last remnants now fading away as well. Mr. Lynx here, I think that he has, yeah, he's got another nuke already finished up here on one of these ghost academies. He's apparently, no, why would you... He's apparently gonna try and go after these two structures here instead of the minerals. I would say the mineral line is going to be far more important. Now, a second one will also join that very first ghost. And that means that apparently, while these structures aren't dead just yet, they will deal some additional damage. More and more ghosts are now continuously coming out. ET Lynx, so occupied already with microing these two ghosts that he is slipping up pretty badly when it comes to macro. The same, though, can be said here for McLovin. And another tactical nuke is now indeed deployed. It's flying across the map. And it will land very shortly here near that mineral line. And McLovin, you gotta pay attention, dude. Oh, McLovin just ended up losing every single one of his probes at that natural. Now, apparently, though, this stealth assassin is not done just yet. It may very well be hunting the main base here as well. An observer will be coming out, or actually, there's already one out right here for McLovin. He's gonna start dealing some damage here to the Void Ray, but I think eventually the Void Ray is just a little bit too strong. In a fabulous way, he decides to fall on over. And while McLovin did indeed set up a couple of photon cannons here on the other side of the map, ET Lynx is looking like he is in firm control of this match so far. Now, there are more than enough observers available right now for our Protoss player in blue. You will be able to, at the very least, deal with that ghost that's already got 6 kills here as well. Is he really gonna try and nuke over this area? I mean, you certainly can. 2 more nukes are currently once again coming up. 1 just finished. Is he gonna try and nuke over the little ledge here? That option is available. Apparently, though, McLovin has now decided to go for a Nexus here on the other side of the map. And guess what? This one is completely unscouted. At this point, ET Lynx does not know about this. He does know about all of the units that are currently, apparently, still hanging out in the back of his natural expansion. More and more ghosts are coming out, but ET Lynx, he really needs to add on a lot more unit-producing structures, as well as a bunch of supply depots. I mean, just simply Marines would be incredibly helpful right now. Just simply having some more units out would be super, super good. But apparently, though, eventually, while a siege tank will start nibbling away here, or shooting away, rather, at these structures, and eventually he's going to be able to take control of the natural. He's still busy here, dealing some damage to the Void Ray. Prismatic Alignment, a spell that deals additional damage here to armored units, which ghosts are not, will get activated. Apparently, it does allow these ghosts to move up on the ramp. 2 of the observers now get taken care of as well, and all of a sudden, ET Lynx is once again patrolling the main base here of his opponent. Now, this time around, McLovin, you know where the ghosts are at. You know where the ghosts are at. That is 2 nukes that are just being deployed here on the Nexus. I don't think he... Oh, my... No. No! McLovin, no! Don't... McLovin! Apparently, that means that only 14 workers remain. Now, some of those are all the way on the other side of the map. Right, the siege tank is still going to town here on these structures. I think that McLovin was preoccupied looking at his base over here on the other side of the map. He is now once again starting up some producing, right? Or some production, rather. He's once again producing a couple of those buildings. Pretty nicely done here. Cybernetics core is still up and running. There's no more detection, however, available. These 2 ghosts, 17 and 2 kills each. They are now still going to town here on that Nexus. Now, apparently, though, more and more nukes is being deployed because it's taking him a little bit too long to try and get rid of these remaining structures here of our Protoss player. And while ET Lynx is assuming he's getting rid of most of the last structures here of his opponent, little does he know there's still a base on the other side of the map. And interestingly enough, this one is really nearby. McLovin, no, he doesn't actually know about the base here of the Terran either. Nor does ET Lynx know about the base of the Protoss. I mean, this is probably one of the worst scouting probes ever, because, I mean, he's not quite Legolas, right? His elven eyes don't need to see as far, but that can't be all too, you know, can't be all too far. I would imagine that a probe can at the very least see, I don't know, what's that, like maybe 20, 30 meters? Maybe a little bit more than that? Anyway, apparently ET Lynx is not done just yet, though. He's still going to continue dealing some damage here to that forge. It's desperately trying to upgrade something, but it hasn't had pylon power in forever. So since it's not connected to the grid anymore, it will not be able to finish up +1 infantry weapon, or I guess ground weapons here either. Now, McLovin, I mean, he's not in a great position, right? But he is making all of the right choices when it comes to tech. He's now got that fleet beacon finished up. He still has a lot of gas here. He can go ahead and make himself a couple of those carriers. And I don't think he's out of the game just yet. The main reason for that, though, is because of the fact that ET Lynx is floating 7,000 resources. He's so busy microing these two ghosts on the other side of the map that he is completely dropping the ball when it comes to having a bunch of army out. I mean, imagine if he would just add on, I don't know, I don't really care either, like 10 freaking barracks, right? Get some reactors on them. You're gonna be able to deal so much damage. Apparently more and more nukes are coming up, though. McLovin, please. McLovin, you've already lost 30 probes. McLovin. I mean, I'm shaking my head right now. You can't see that, but McLovin has lost probably about 30... like probably 37, 36 of those probes to nukes, and he could have prevented all of those. That is 27 and 8 confirmed kills here on these two stealth assassins. Now finally, ET Lynx, he's like, wait a second, hold up, I was gonna make an expansion over here. He has now realized that apparently something is not quite right in his next door, or his next... his next expansion over, right? His neighbor apparently isn't quite what he expected. He expected that he was right next to an empty plot of land, and instead, indeed, he has found himself another Protoss base. Now, of course, the two assassins, I mean, they are still going to town. They're gonna try and see if they can get rid of this army. There's currently no detection available, but apparently cloaking is not activated. Actually, what was I saying there? There is plenty of detection available. More and more observers actually are now coming out here as well. And while more nukes are now also being produced here by Lynx, he is not quite having the army that you would expect him to have. I mean, look at this. He is shortly closing in on 10,000 resources. This is the reason why I love casting these games here in Silver League. Now, does he have his Graviton Catapult upgrade? He does not. Graviton Catapult, one of the most important upgrades you can get, okay? If you are a Protoss player and you are making carriers, please think about Graviton Catapult. It's an upgrade right here in the fleet beacon. It allows you to deploy all of your interceptors at once, and while it doesn't necessarily matter in these small skirmishes, it certainly does make a big difference when it comes to just simply fighting. Now, apparently though, ET Lynx, he's not done just yet. Actually, I was assuming here ET Lynx was gonna clean this game up very, very easily. However, he's not looking like he's in an amazing position. And once again, he's of course going to be able to deal with all of those stalkers here at the front, because McLovin is way too busy staring at this single carrier that's dealing a bunch of damage here as well, and it's cleaning up ghost after ghost after ghost. And while indeed ET Lynx, right, he has managed to get a very solid economy, he secured himself a solid amount of bases, he is not capable of cleaning up this game. McLovin, he's doing a magnificently better job here at dealing a bunch of damage. He doesn't have a lot of observers anymore, because I think those must have gone down here to the nukes as well. He does still have that photon cannon though. There's not actually here at the second base. I would actually like it if he decides to get himself one of those in just a little bit. But the energy of the ghost does run out, and that means that the carriers can close the distance and the interceptors can pick off these carriers. Honestly, this could still be anyone's game. Right, there we go. ET Lynx, nice. He's finally started adding on some more additional barracks. I think he should have done that minutes ago, but better late than never, right? Now, a single Tempest will also be joining into this party here in just a little bit. McLovin, though, he doesn't have Graviton Catapult, but he's going to be able to pick off these SCVs one by one very, very easily. He now also sees the additional barracks that are coming up, but apparently he has decided that target firing down that single refinery is top priority right now. Dealing with his opponent's gas income is going to be critical critical because Mr. Lynx only has 2,500 gas in the bank, so he definitely needs to make sure that he gets rid of those as soon as he possibly can. The main base of McLovin is completely gone. The natural only has 2 assimilators remaining, and I guess, well, there are some structures here in the main still left over as well. It's really just there to allow for some additional tech. Now, ET Lynx, he's gonna start sieging forward as siege tank and then scan continuously. Is that the way that he plans on dealing with all of these units? It may very well be the case. A single one of the observers now near the front as well. Another carrier is now just started up here too. ET Lynx, though, he did lose that high ground vision with the scan running out, and I really wonder what his win condition is right now. I still think that both of these players have a great chance at potentially obtaining the victory right now. Now, a single one of these Widowmine, I don't even know if it can hit away at these interceptors. It looks like that's not quite going to be the case. The Ghost is gonna cloak. Is it gonna try and deploy another nuke? Please tell me it's gonna try and nuke these carriers. Now, here's a fun fact. One carrier does not die to a nuke. Like, oh, actually, look, they can apparently attach to the little interceptors. But anyways, carriers do take 2 nukes, I believe, to kill. So they are going to be rather tanky. So in a way, carriers are a pretty solid counter to dealing with a lot of these ghosts as well. I've never really thought about carriers that way, but here we go. Once again, right, Graviton Catapult is not available. I guess if you just simply successfully deploy as many of these units as possible, it doesn't really matter all too much, though. I do still think that Graviton Catapult is going to be one of the critical options. One of the ghosts, though, decided to make its way around the bases, and it's deploying another one of those nukes. And I know that McLovin is currently busy looking at his carriers. He's not microing them, but he is most definitely going to take some additional damage here near his last mining base, with the exception of the one that's got a couple of probes here at the newly acquired expansion. Now that all of these interceptors, though, are slowly being picked off, I actually am starting to get a little bit worried here for these carriers as well. I do think that eventually we will see that there are enough units remaining, but McLovin is too busy trying to take care of all of these supply depots. Interestingly enough, though, the supply depots were eventually enough to get rid of all of that supply here of the Terran player, and now ET Lynx is supply blocked. Still, this is where you need that Graviton Catapult. Graviton Catapult allows you to deploy all of your interceptors at once, rather than them trickling out one by one. It seems that if a couple of Marines can clean it up, it may very well be this hit squad right here. He's even microing his units. Another one of the Protoss carriers will end up dying. Slowly but surely, though, more and more of these units are being reconstructed, and that means that ET Lynx opened up some supply to make more and more army units here as well. Here's what you need to do, okay, if you are the Protoss right now. Make some probes, group your units up together, probably get like 5 or so carriers out, and then try again. Trickling in interceptors is not really the way to go. It's not really the way to go. Now, McLovin, I mean, you really need to try and keep your carriers alive, my man. They take like 2.5 years to build, and they're like 500 gas each. Although, to be fair, both of you have had plenty of resources that are not really being used very efficiently here anyway. 2 additional nukes are now coming up here for ET Lynx. He still has over 10,000 resources here collected. It's just simply sitting in a bank. Now, as we all know, StarCraft 2 is probably the worst bank in history because they don't give you any benefits whatsoever for having it out there, other than the fact that you can spend it at a given moment, I suppose. But if you are not maxed out, you know, you obviously have sitting, or you are sitting on a massive pile of gold. I mean, you can try and be like Scrooge McDuck and maybe feel like a swimming pool with just minerals. It doesn't seem like a very pleasant thing to dive in, though. I don't even think you can really throw them up and let them hit your head either, right? There's no fun in just simply having it. I think you should really try and spend your money, right? There we go. A single SCV is now valiantly destined with the task to create some more supply depots. That does mean, though, that it will take a little bit of time as well before ET Lynx is gonna once again be unsupply blocked and continue onwards with its production. Even 6 structures right now is not enough, guys. Here's what you want to do if you are a Terran player, okay? Think about getting like 4 to 5 unit producing structures per base, okay? And that's only if you have got pretty decent upkeep. If you realize, hey, you know what? I'm not really using my hotkeys very efficiently. I'm not really making use of my unit producing facilities very often at all. Maybe aim for like 6 unit producing structures at any given base, okay? So if you've got 3 bases, make like 18 barracks. Now, I realize that's 100% excessive if you are a pro gamer, but your upkeep is not going to be perfect, and that's fine to admit, but it's much better than having so many minerals in the bank. Now, apparently, right now, ET Lynx has decided that spending one tactical nuke to get rid of 2 observers is gonna be the way to go. Ugh, it's running out of energy now, though. And even though Graviton Catapult is not available yet, I mean, I don't think he's ever gonna get it. He did end up having enough interceptors out there to get rid of that single Terran ghost. Now, by the way, I know some of you may look at this game and you're cringing pretty badly right now, right? You gotta keep in mind, the person who submitted this replay is most definitely gonna be watching this video as well. Please be nice in your comments. I've seen some really nasty comments on some of these videos. Please keep in mind that a lot of people, you know, may not be at your skill level. I mean, even if you've been playing the game for a couple of months, you may look at this and be like, oh my god, right, there's so much room for improvement. Why does McLovin not realize he just needs to make more probes, right? Please refrain from you know, being a jerk to other people. I know, this this should be a general guideline for life, right? Try and not be a jerk. It's usually a pretty nice way of living your life, but oh my god, the ghost! They're now actually moving forward. They're now actually trying to nuke one of those carriers. Tempest have significantly less HP, I suppose, but actually no. They have pretty much the same amount of HP here in total, but it doesn't really matter anyway, because the ghost will go down anyway, and that means that McLovin will stand tall for a little while longer. I actually have no clue who's gonna end up winning this game. I mean, Protoss, he's currently not producing anything. I really am curious what Protoss is currently looking at. Can we have a look? Okay, yeah, so this is what the Protoss player is looking at right now. Right, this is the vision of our Protoss player. He's very busy looking at these units. Here's another little tip, actually, if you're new to the game. Looking at fights, usually completely irrelevant. There's usually very little reason for you to look at your fights. The thing is, in particular carriers, they're not very microable at all. Usually, all you really need to do is just make more units, right? Macro is one of the most critical components. In the meantime, though, this is the vision right here of our Terran player. He is going to start target firing down one of those big Protoss capital ships. Question is there enough right now available? He is queuing up so many units here inside of these barracks. Guys, here's another rule I would like you to keep, okay? If you want to keep your money low as a Terran player, try to not queue up units. Instead, produce more unit-producing facilities. I know, this may come as a very general rule of thumb, but it's so, you know, unnecessary to queue up this many units, because it's gonna take minutes before you're spending any of that, and while it may look like you're macroing better, you're not actually macroing better. In the meantime, though, another one of the carriers has indeed closed the distance toward this command center. Now, it's currently attack move right on top of the CC as well, so that means that ET Lynx will be able to out-repair this unit here, too. And slowly but surely, more Marines are joining the battlefield. I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking that ET Lynx eventually is just simply going to have enough Marines to deal with all of those units, right? This is where, if you are a Protoss player and you group up all of your units and you engage in one massive chunk. I mean, people are making fun of the Protoss Death Bowl for many, many years now. And it's true, right? Protoss units, they gain a lot of value when you are grouping them up together, because they're the race that has got a lot of big units, and they just simply benefit from moving all together in one big ball. Now, at this point, though, look at the amount of Marines here available. There are 35 in total. Only 8 interceptors remain and 2 photon cannons here as well. Now, the photon cannons, they will indeed be sniped here. ET Lynx has successfully killed 49 probes in this particular game, and while he ended up losing 12 ghosts here as well, and actually resource-wise, he has lost a lot more than his opponent. It turns out that is I love it. I love it. That's so good. It turns out, right, that his units are just a little bit more valuable. And while Lynx was trying his best, right, to be mannered to his opponent, I don't think that was considered to be BM. I don't think he was trying to badmouth his opponent. Instead, he was just trying to express his amazement at this particular game. I thoroughly enjoyed casting it as well. And if you have a great game yourself too, go ahead and submit it to replays at LowkoTV, and maybe, just maybe, I'll end up casting your game here in the future. For now, though, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day, okay? Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.